We are currently in our back to basic tutorial where we introduce much of the things that we've assumed most of the students know about the EV3 hardware and software. And last we finished at moving the robot. And we did a few turns with the robot, we moved the motors back and forward. So today we'll make a second video on the general principles of moving, and then we'll continue with more advanced things for the competitions, for different competitions. But let's first take a look at more ways we can move our robot. Previously we used the large motor block, this one here, for moving motor D and motor A, the large motor block. Then we used the tank block for moving motor A and motor D, and we configured to move motor A with the power of 50 and motor D with the power of 50, but reversed for 2 rotations. There is one more block, and this is the move steering block. We take this move steering block from here, move steering, and we again control motor A and motor D. Now there is some difference between move tank and move steering, as you can see from the different properties. Again, we can configure the number of rotations that we would like the motor to do, for example 2. But in the move steering we can configure how do the motors steer compared to each other, whether one of the motor moves faster than the other motor, and that's interesting, because we can say that we would like one of the motor to move faster than the other, and in this way to steer the whole robot. Now it takes some experiments here with this block in order to learn the values. What does the value 100 means? It means that one of the motor is moving in the opposite direction than the other motor. But with very small value of the steering, like 20, you would see a movement that's slightly, let's see, it's slightly on the right. Let's add the move steering block, 50, 2 rotations, and we steer with the value of 20. Let's see what's the behavior of our robot. I will now download and run the program. As you saw, the robot is turning, so it's not turning right, it's turning left, and one of the motors, the motor D, no, it's motor A. Motor A is moving faster than motor D. Again, let's start the program, and it's a nice turn. Now we've explored the large motor, the tank motor, and the steering motor. There are a few more options, but I'll have to return you back to the program. The additional options, properties, configurations of the different blocks also matter, and these are, for example, let's take, let me just put this here. Let's take the move steering block. For the move steering block, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options when we are turning the motor. So we can first turn it off, turn it on for a number of seconds, and in this way we are moving the robot a number of seconds forward. We can also move the robot for a number of degrees until the motor rotates a number of degrees or a number of rotations, and one rotation is 360 degrees. And we can choose between these 3 different options, for example number of seconds, and we can configure for 5 seconds. Now 5 seconds are not always equal to 5 rotations. it might be true sometime that rotations are equal to seconds, but it might not be true. For example, if we move the robot with the power of 100 for both motors, and we move this robot for 5 seconds, both motors will probably do more than 5 rotations, because they're moving for 5 seconds with the maximum power. But if we move the robot with the power of, I don't know, 10, let's write 10. So this is very slowly, and we are moving the robot for 5 seconds. Probably we'll have the motors turn only for about 1 rotation. Let's check this. Turning both motors with the power of 10 for 5 seconds. Download, run the program. This is it, very slowly, moving with 10% of the maximum power and moving for 5 seconds. And these are not 5 rotations. Let's do this again. I'll take, for example, one of these parts. Okay, and if I now start the program, you can see that the wheel is turning one and a half rotations. So it's not turning for 5 rotations. So it is turning for 5 seconds, but not 5 rotations. With this, I will conclude the basic introduction to moving with the motors and moving the robot with the motors. Now I'll add a few tasks in the next video so that you can experiment and learn all the options of the different blocks.